incredible connection to family. The observance of Shabbat is something that I've been a part of in many Jewish families who have invited me to their homes. And I always am a little bit overwhelmed with the sense that when God gave his law to his people and they followed it, there is a closeness with family that really does create a unity and a sense of purpose, the likes of which we all should want to have. Over the years, I've taken my children to Israel many times. I've taken thousands and thousands of people on a trip to Israel so they can see for themselves. One of the great joys I have now is watching Israel through the eyes of people who have never been there before and who are seeing it for the first time. And one of the things that becomes very evident is that it is impossible to walk through the land of Israel and not feel a magnetic connection to God himself. I come tonight with a deep sense of gratitude for all of you in this room whose generous contributions help people who are not able to always return the favor. It is the greatest act of love and charity to give when there is nothing in it for the giver except the simple joy of having given. Feeding people, caring for them at their moment of need is something that is as close to the heart of God as one can find in all of the law. I also would say that in my many trips to Israel, I've been there in some of the best of times. I've been there in some of the worst of times. Not long after October 7th, I was there. I was beyond overwhelmed with the gut-wrenching anger and sense of bewilderment as how could anyone do this to innocent civilians? And I thought, if there ever has been a time when every human being on the face of this planet should stand with our Jewish friends, it is right now, and I feel that way more strongly than I have ever felt it in my life. It's hard for me to understand anti-Semitism and the rise of it, most particularly in this country. It makes no sense. It's irrational. And especially when I see those who should be well-educated young people on a college campus, an expensive college campus, for which their parents are paying a premium price for their little darlings to get an education. And when I see them on the campuses waving Hamas flags and shouting statements of annihilation to the Jewish people from the river to the sea, I think some parents have sadly failed their children by not helping them to understand what it is to hate someone you don't even know. This is an evil. This isn't a political problem. It's not a social problem. It is not an economic problem. It's not a geographical problem. It is a spiritual and a moral problem that can only be resolved when we raise up a generation of people who recognize what you in this room recognize by your gifts of kindness to the people who are hungry, to the people who are hurting. That if you want to resolve conflict and problems, one of the ultimate ways of doing it is showing the kind of love and kindness that every one of you in this room have shown. It's been said that every ambassador is supposed to go and show up and do a little pantry packing. Well, I want to go ahead and announce tonight that I'm not sure exactly when I'm going to get there. I would ask you to pray for me. My future is in the hands of the United States Senate. That is frightening. But if and when I am confirmed and I make it to a land I love, then I hope you'll know. Look for me knocking on your door. And yes, I'll wear the hairnet, reluctantly, but I will wear it. And I will be glad to stand next to many of you and your Israeli friends and pack wonderful gifts of food and kindness as a way of saying, I'm not just here to sit in the embassy or to experience life in the ambassador's residence. I want to walk the streets that the people of Israel walk. I want to sit in the homes where they live. I want to let them know that here stands an American who doesn't have to connect, doesn't have to love Jewish people. I'm not Jewish. But I love Jewish people because God loves Jewish people. I love Israel because God has chosen Israel. And I also know that when we finally have peace in Jerusalem, we will have peace all over the world. And I want that for your children and your grandchildren, so that instead of having to take up arms to defend the sovereignty of a nation that should be recognized without question, instead, people can take up spoons and forks and knives and baskets of food and show a level of love that I've come to understand from my Israeli and Jewish friends. What a delight it is to be able to share this evening with you. I hope that when you come to Israel, and I know most of you have and will, I'll say what we say down south. Y'all come and come see me. I look forward to it. I would say next year in Jerusalem, but I'd rather say it this way, optimistically, this year in Jerusalem. God bless you. Thank you.